So here, let's see what the neoliberals had to say about Natalie's
Self-styled
new
radicals
video.
will tell you superficial surface reforms do not interest us, must be critiqued at its root. And then the root turns out to be this universal, all-encompassing evil, right? Society itself, the system, the machine. A resentment ideologue always imagines himself to be engaged in a kind of satanic revolt against an omnipotent, omnipresent enemy. Okay, I just need to do makeup for a second. It's harder than it looks to be a makeup vlogger. Like, it's hard to talk while doing this. And nothing short of total revolution counts as any sort of victory whatsoever. We have to dismantle the entire system. Burn it all down. I guess it's pedestrian to point out that this is the revolutionary utopian equivalent of Christians awaiting the last judgment. Our kingdom is coming, comrades. Often the appeal of utopian ideology is similar to religion. It's not about healthcare, higher wages, relief from police violence. Those
She's 100% right.
are actual goals that could be demanded, worked for, and
I don't even think Marxist-Leninists would disagree with this. There you go.
achieved. Utopian ideology instead promises relief from some general malaise, alienation. And so ironically, it can have the same opiate effect that Marx ascribes to religion. But release from the general anguish of human existence is not a political goal. There's been many revolutions in the last few centuries, and so far, 0 utopias. Resentment, envy, and hunger, for that matter, are not satiated by the downfall of the old regime. When the people have no bread, they eat the rich. And when the rich are gone, they eat each other. And because of the proximity effect, envy may actually increase after the revolution. You may actually be more envious of a favored comrade, a successful citoyen. Oui, a kulak.
What? Okay, this is that. What? I don't know where this video is going. Maybe with the context, I would understand the point that she's making. Isn't this like when Destiny used to say, you can't defeat racism with socialism? Like, what if the factory democratically organizes to vote to do racism? Which is technically true. The point is the factory is currently doing racism. It's just that, you know, it's in the hands of the few. Bro, you were agreeing? Don't back out now? I mean, I was agreeing with this point, but it took a very weird turn. It's like the last 5 minutes of a 1 hour and 48 long video.
Than you ever were of the aristocrats. So envy turns paranoid and imaginative in revolutionary moments. It gets sublimated into morality, and the accusations start flying. That citizen is conspiring against the revolution. That peasant is hoarding grain. So the guillotine starts slicing thousands of heads off, the gulags fill up, or an authoritarian strongman takes over just to announce another revolution 2 decades later. The things people will do to stay relevant, honestly. And for what? What long-term egalitarian utopia?
I wouldn't say it's envy that causes many of the historic socialist revolutions to fail. I mean, there's obviously so many different reasons, which I know Natalie agrees with. Outside influences, constant war with imperialist forces. But I think ultimately envy doesn't play that significant of a role. I've said a million times over that I prefer the neoliberal method of control of sedating the masses to the more authoritarian methods of control that we have seen in historic revolutionary socialist development. I've said this a million times over. 30 different brands of Oreos and the mirage of choice creates this idea of liberty within people. And that's a significantly better way of sedating the masses rather than telling them like, no, we can't do it. We're just not going to give you fucking coffee beans because we just simply don't have coffee beans right now. And you're going to shut the fuck up. Left is confused. I mean, I've literally said that. I always say that. I mean, think about it this way. I think a level of control is an absolute necessity. Sorry, look at the fucking hogs. Okay? That's always what's going on. Control occurs in politics, whether you admit it or whether you see it or not. I would rather manufacture consent, okay, than say like we're stopping harmful information from being prevented. I mean, it's a bit of both.
Hasan.
But I think manufacturing consent and the neoliberal method of control is demonstrably more successful than more authoritarian forms. Helping people feel like they're free or allowing people to feel like they're free is a demonstrably successful way of controlling the population. Envy is the boring standard. Pepega analysis of why counter-revolutions were successful. Yeah, I don't know how envy features into this, but...
Utopia results. Socialism with Chinese characteristics.
Now?
For the poor constantly want what you have, you first world spoiled product. What? If the neoliberal method of control worked, there wouldn't be 30K people watching you. It doesn't matter. I have 30,000 people watching me, but a revolution is not occurring because ultimately it doesn't fucking matter because the people that do end up going out and voting in the bourgeois electoral systems that we have developed under a capitalist organization of the economy will still continue to put the needs of corporations and the wants of the wealthy over the interests of the citizens, of the interests of the working class. That's just the reality. So that is proof that it's working. That's my point. You should watch the whole video, maybe not on stream. Natalie's point is couched within a larger point about political discourse.
Hi Hasan, hi chat.
This is a 2-minute clip of a video essay that's 2 hours long about envy and is clipped for r/neolib, leaving out her talking positively about leftism and revolutions. Ideally for you, you'd have a socialistic economy and a neoliberal illusion of freedom. I mean, that's not even neoliberal. The illusion of freedom there isn't even like a neoliberal thing. It's just
9 months
what neoliberal Western nations have been able to successfully implement. I wouldn't even say that it's like straight up neoliberalism or a tenet of neoliberalism. You can have authoritarian neoliberalism. Chile is a good example of this, right? Like more authoritarian neoliberalism can exist. You gotta watch the whole video. She's making a philosophical argument, and as a philosophy major myself, I can say she's doing the annoying thing we do where we use words with a meaning that they don't hold in common parlance. There are about 2 hours before this explaining envy from a philosophical POV or coming at it from the colloquial use as a synonym for jealousy. She kind of got a point. If a revolution happened, people would rip you limb from limb and a crumb of money. Yeah, dude, totally. The neoliberal method of control or the neoliberal manufacturing consent has completely fucking dismantled labor unions in this country. One minor way of pushing back against the gross abundance and overall exploitation that is baked into this economic organization. Okay? Like there are no fucking look no further than the average working class person becoming a lumpen prole and literally speaking out against labor unions. If you want to understand how successful that method of control has been, you've reacted to this before, but it's Zizek on the neoliberal versus authoritarian father. Yeah, this is my least favorite thing though. Like. There's a different tier system of like things I fucking hate. One is people literally being like, oh my God, Contrapoints is a conservative. And then the other is people seeing like one fucking take, just like one in a sea of 30,000 chatters. They see one person that literally corresponds to their biases about tankies or whatever the fuck boogeyman that they've created in their heads. That is just like a 14-year-old with a fucking Twitch account and a whole lot of fucking pent up resentment towards a horrible future that the previous generations has left before them. And you go, oh my God! Oh, people are calling her fucking conservative. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like one person, dude. Chill. Okay? You do this. Yeah, totally. When I do this, it's not like a boatload of comments. She deleted this tweet saying, "Is it really controversial to admit that the great leap forward in cultural revolution are not proud moments in the history of communism? If you can't be critical of these things, you're as much as a brainless ideologue as liberals who avert their eyes from the horrors of capitalism." I think what a lot of people do with the great leap forward in cultural revolution is very similar to, and I literally said this when I debated Cenk, if you guys remember. People that mythologize past revolutions, okay? People that mythologize revolutions of the past without admitting the significant problems that have also happened alongside it, or immediately running defense for said problems, are no different than the way Cenk used to mythologize the 1960s America. You know, when we were the closest to a social democracy, a racist one, but still a closest to a social democracy, where like we had better social safety nets, and also on top of that, like a higher marginal tax rate for the wealthiest Americans. You know what I mean? Like, that shit didn't work. Okay. I also don't know who the fuck she's like, getting upset at here. I feel like these are really, really, like, anytime you are in the Western world and anytime you're in the Western world and like regard Marxist Leninists, let alone people who think Stalin is great, or Maoists, you're referencing 14 people that are extremely online. So I choose not to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. It's just like, it's completely irrelevant.
Stalin Pog.
It's almost reactionary. It's what conservatives do to shit on the left. And you are doing that to yourself for no reason. Right? It's like when fucking conservatives be like, can you please address the statements that what's his face? Can you please address the statements made by Contra is talking about you? What? Why would she be talking about me? I agree with her. You fucking idiot. Yes, Louis Farrakhan. That's what I was going to say. It's whenever conservatives say like, oh, Louis Farrakhan said this, address this. It's like, is Louis Farrakhan a fucking leftist, dude, just because he's black? People do this because they lock in and hyper focus on. They lock in and hyper focus on like their immediate reactions and interactions on the internet. They end up thinking that it's a far greater problem because it's a big problem for you. It's annoying. It's fucking annoying because people are constantly chirping in your fucking replies about a particular thing. Natalie's discussed in Men how she feels responsible for radicalizing a lot of people from the far right into the tanky left. Dude, I hate that. Like, tanky left. What the fuck is the tanky left? Everyone goes through the aesthetic phases of leftism. It's like a normal part of the process. And then they fucking, their edgy points of view that are aesthetics focused die down and they normalize their points of view. And not Chris Farley is 100% correct. It seems most extremely online Marxist-Leninist understanding of communist and socialist theory start and end at memes and Discord posts rather than delving into the rich and complex network of leftist theory that isn't always congruent with other parts. Natalie's takes are basic Gramsci shit from the 30s. I think you're highly underrepresenting the amount of leftists in our communities that will go to bat for authoritarian socialist projects. So what? I mean, literally, so what? Like, if I spent time fucking crying about that beyond what I already do, which is like, yeah, you're delusional and it's laughable to think that like China does not engage in like horrible actions, which I do all the time. I mention it all the fucking time. But anything beyond that is like a complete waste of time. So what?
Bruh.
Seriously. The reason why I will not hold Nazis to that same fucking standard is because There's like literal fucking Nazis in the government, dude. We had Donald Trump's administration stacked to the deck with people who held similar values to white supremacists, and they were impacting the immigration policy. I don't think we have any fucking Maoists or Dengists in the American government. It literally does not matter. She's been shitting on leftist strawman in all of her recent videos. Her takes are becoming more lukewarm every video. Whatever. There's no like. Why has this chat become such a cesspool of people who constantly spam about imaginary tankies recently? It's embarrassing because there's a lot of sock them and sock them adjacent content creators that are both in this space or literal straight up neoliberals who say that they're social democrats when they're not. Nice. Okay. And those communities spend a insane amount of fucking time, like being like, this is a tanky, that's a tanky, this is a tanky. We need to clean up our ranks. We need to clean up our ranks. It's like, what the fuck? Because they learned about leftism from you and then never delve further. Really? People learned leftism from me and never delve further. And that's why you're saying that's why they're shitting on tankies. Well, I don't. I fucking say this all the time too. So what the fuck are you talking about? I probably have more Marxist-Leninists watching me than most like Marxist-Leninist fucking outwardly pro like Stalin content creators. So what the fuck are you talking about? What does that take? What are you gonna fucking sit here and be like Jason and Ruhe has more fucking real revolutionaries watching him than you? Is that what you're gonna say? Flexing about his viewership? No. The point is, it's not a fucking flex about my viewership, man. It's what I'm trying to say is like, I have a certain set of beliefs, but I like to hold open as big as a fucking 10 as possible. And I don't personally think that like
tankies get the wall.
Tankists are a serious fucking, they present like a serious problem in the West, in America, or Maoists. They're not. They're like a tiny fucking, like a tiny group of individuals. Wait, what? 1.4 billion Chinese say you're wrong. Hasanabi in chat. What does this guy has to say? Wait. What? China is exporting the truth. Cry more about shit from 50 years ago. 1.4 billion tankies in China is the majority opinion. I like Hasan's passion and your takes suck. What? What kind of a dumbass take is that, dude? It's like saying in the aftermath of 9/11, the overwhelming majority of fucking Americans. First of all, you make it seem like every single fucking Chinese person is like, I love the Chinese Communist Party and everything that they've ever done. So shut the fuck up. What an idiotic take. Okay, 330 million Americans absolutely love American imperialism. That makes it correct. Like, well, shut the fuck up, dude. Actually, shut up. But it's not just 30 Westerners, is it? It literally, from the point of impact, it literally is. There's like 15 Maoists in America and 2 are Brace Belden and Norm Finkelstein. True.